antisocial network.
Yeah. Mask up, stay 6 feet apart.
Yeah, right.
Hi, gentle listeners. Welcome back to YUH with Lisa, Phil, and Aaron, who's coming in from California. And this time he's bringing a guest, the handsome Otto. And we are talking this week with Dean Boese. He is a podcaster and author. His podcast is The Family Plot. Dean, welcome, and give us a little information, tell us about your...
It is wonderful, my friends. Wonderful. I tell you, I'm an author these days, but I certainly do this podcast about his wife and our son, and we have half of it is banter between us, family, and the other half is actually trying to learn something about history. So. And that's just the way we do it. Yeah. What part of California are you in, Aaron?
Pine Mountain Club.
I don't know where that.
Yeah.
I don't know where that is, but we used to live in Merced.
Okay, so
if you know where that is,
it's Northern California.
Central Valley.
Okay. I'm about 40 miles south of Bakersfield.
Okay, all right.
If you know where Fraser Park is, I'm west of Fraser Park.
Okay. I feel bad for you. I've driven through Bakersfield, and I don't wish that smell on any.
No, I'm high above Bakersfield and to the south. I'm on Mount Pinus on the north face.
So there's a ringing endorsement for Bakersfield.
Okay.
Yeah, it does have this weird smell to it. He's right.
Does it?
Yeah.
What might have caused that?
I don't know. Pollen, dust, something.
No idea. But when you're driving through it, you spend most of the time going, "What is that smell? Yeah. What is that?"
Interesting. Yeah.
And through Bakersfield, and then it's just gone.
All I know about Bakersfield is the music. Movement, the country music sound or whatever. So that's interesting. The smell of Bakersfield should be an album, probably. Something like that. But I've listened to The Family Plot, a couple episodes. I love the concept, and I love the way you promote it. The way on Facebook you'll put a teaser pic up, and you'll have to try to guess what the topic is going to be. Usually it's some kind of black and white photo or something that's very mysterious or thought-provoking, but it's never obvious. I know that. I've been wrong every time I've tried to guess. But it's a good teaser. I like history. I like my favorite show when I was a child was In Search Of, so I like the more mysterious sides of history. So it's a good I want to say gimmick, in the best sense of the word.
Was Leonard Nimoy the narrator for In Search Of, or am I thinking of a different show?
That was him.
No. Leonard Nimoy was the narrator, and then back for about 5 episodes. I want to say on maybe next. We got Zachary Quinto.
Oh, okay.
I remember that.
Spock.
Yeah, so
that would seem like a great.
Apparently, the prerequisite is you have to have played Spock to narrate that show.
Wild.
Well, they should, Netflix should seriously consider picking that up. They do Unsolved Mysteries now. It seems like, even though they had this other attempt, it seems like something they could revisit. We got a promo for your podcast, Dean. Let me go ahead and play that right here, if you don't mind.
I'm Dean. I'm the dad.
I'm Laura. I'm the mom.
And I'm Arthur. I'm the son.
And together we are
Family Plot. Plot Podcast is the best history podcast that we can make.
Like intellectual pancakes for the soul.
I've been called the cool dad you want to take a road trip with and learn about history from.
One of our listeners said me was like Mom reading you a bedtime story full of cool history, and I am here for it.
And one of our reviewers called me the snarky brother they wish they had.
So join us to learn some cool stuff,
to hear some fun banter and wild tangents.
And we are unabashedly LGBTQ friendly and trans positive and supportive.
and remember,
When you listen,
You're our family. So join us and occasionally some very cool guests
for the Family Plot Podcast.
available wherever you get your podcasts.
All right.
Hey,
Right on.
Lisa's while I was playing, Lisa said, "Do you think I would enjoy this?" I'm like, "Yes, tangents." Tangents, that's her specialty.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's her
I'm
middle
good at
name.
twirl.
Oh yeah, we cannot like just tell a story because invariably either it makes us remember another episode we've done, and because I spent most of my life reading comics, I like to call those moments out, like, oh yeah, we talked about that in episode 218, go check it out. Just like if you read a comic and they introduce a villain that you haven't seen in a minute, they'll say last seen in Astonishing Tales number 134. That's my
Right.
sort of nod to that. Years
Right.
of being a
Right on.
comic book nerd, it turns up a little bit. Plus, I will often talk about this guy named Josh Gates, who has my favorite of the ones he currently has is a show called Expedition Unknown, which if they had ever at any point while I was in high school in the 80s said you could have a job where you go around the world and like check out this cool archaeological stuff and be on TV, I would have been training for that. But nobody told me. Nobody. I feel like it's a failing of the education system, honestly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But because I love that show, my wife and my son will both, if I bring up Josh Gates, who has commented on quite a bit of history, they're both like, man crush. Well, okay, I guess.
Hey, that's
probably.
okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, there are certain jobs that are that compelling. Like I remember back in the early 2000s, there was that Egyptologist that was doing all of the work in Egypt to unearth the pharaohs and all that stuff. I can't remember his name, but I was like, he's very charismatic, and I was like, my God, what a dream job. I mean, but probably the reason he got it was in part because of his personality, his ability to, entertain as well as educate. But also Leonard Nimoy got to do some things that I kind of envy, in search of and stuff. But yeah, I like the angle. Were you interested in history as a young man? I mean, is it I know you were a comedian, but
history is one of those things I've always been interested in because of what I thought were real tales. I've done this podcast to learn that some of the real tales I've heard are not actually the truth. And so that to me has become almost more interesting, is finding out these things that not just me, but I'm finding out lots of people believe.
What's behind
like the
the
death
door?
of Rasputin.
Death of Rasputin.
Yeah, exactly.
What happened with Rasputin?
I don't know, Dean, what happened with Rasputin?
Well, okay.
I know what.
There's this story about how he died, and
he was allegedly very hard to kill.
Yeah. It's mostly because of one of them wrote this in his personal memoirs, and it's true. But that story goes that invited him over to this little party, and they started feeding him wine. Well, both the wine and the cake were poisoned. He's eating these cakes, he's drinking the wine, he's eating. Finally, he goes, ugh, and they're like, yay, he's dead. And so they're figuring out what to do with the body, and they're downstairs, and he comes stumbling downstairs going, is there any more wine and cake? And they're like, holy gosh. All right, yeah, go upstairs. We'll get you more wine and cake. So he's drinking the wine, he's drinking the wine, he's eating the cake, and they're like, this guy. So then they come up, and they shoot him a couple times. And then he falls over, and they're like, okay, cool. So then they're trying to figure they're just about to come wrap it up. He stands up again. Ah! And he goes to run away. Then they and then they wrap him in chains and a blanket, and they put him on this carriage and take him and dump him in the. Then he having drowned. That is not the truth, but it is a story that people believe.
Right.
He wasn't quite that nearly. I mean, yes, he did seem very, but that's kind of not an unusual thing. There was a case in the A called "I Love You to Death," starring Tracy Ullman, and great movie, by the way. River Phoenix in it, but anyway,
yeah, she tries to kill her husband, and he forgives her, and when she gets out of prison, they stay married.
Yes, but first she poisons all this Italian food, eating it. Of course, eventually he passes out, and they're like, he's not dying. It's just slowed his metabolism down. So later, when they shoot him in the back of the head, and the police are there investigating, and he gets up and he's like, "We would feed the police, give them something," because he's that kind of Italian, and they're like, yeah, "You've been shot in the head," and he's like, "No, I just have a virus." Yeah, it's that kind of thing. Is if you poison someone enough with the right poison, it's less that they become invulnerable, then you've slowed their metabolism to the point that their body is just reacting very slowly. And so, yes, he probably took a while to die that way. Yes, they did eventually wind up shooting him when he tried to run away, because they pulled out a gun and were going to shoot him. But so they shot him then, and then it looks like they came around to where he was lying on the ground and shot him in the forehead. No more killing needed, but the story still floats around.
Right. I recall that story. Yeah. I thought that what happened with Rasputin is that he founded Tesla, then said some stupid shit and lost all his money. But I think the other stuff.
I'm thinking maybe that's a different Rasputin.
Oh, that's the Rasputin, not the actual historical figure. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Now is you do true crime, you do the podcast, and it's family plot, and you talk about history, but is it just like true crime history, or do you do other history?
We do any kind of right now we're started recording spooky season episodes, so like the first year is the Hornet Spook Light, which is ghost light here in Missouri. It's actually in the southern part of the state.
Okay.
Probably also going to be talking.
Anywhere near Demon's Rest?
Anywhere near Demon's Rest. Demon's Rest is actually fictional. It's based on places I've been when I did, but it's entirely fictional. I was trying to, for a minute, I was going to use Frankenstein, Missouri, which is a real place, but as cool as it sounds, it was founded by a German named Franken, and so the town became Stein. Has nothing to do with, which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that a lot
sometimes you don't want to look behind the veil.
I'm sure a lot of your writing incorporates local lore, and we had a gentleman on twice. He's the one that brought color out of space. I can't recall his name right now, but he was from Rockford, Illinois, and his writing was tinged with all this local lore that probably is contained pretty much in that region of the country. But it was fascinating that he was able to bring that out in his writing, and
like a compendium of all the ghost stories from that time.
Yeah, we found him through our most loyal listener.
No,
No, not through
He
Terry.
just happened to be from Rockford.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought Terry clued us, like pushed us towards him.
No,
Okay.
Terry did come on an
No.
episode with him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she discussed it
Okay.
after.
Okay.
Oh yeah, she was on the second
Right.
episode.
But we should get to your books.
Well, now before we
What?
do that, there's something. I have a little bit of an agenda item.
Okay.
Okay. Have you ever heard of something called ethnological exhibits, Dean? And I'm using the big word, but it's basically human.
I know you are, and in general, I like big words. I tend to use
Well,
whenever
the
I
car
get
just
away
crashed
with it.
outside of our house yesterday. So
I've had a thesaurus in my head for decades.
I know.
But no, it's called ethnological exhibits, and what it is it's human zoo exhibits.
Interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
So what it is, they pay people. I got interested in this because this actually occurred in Cincinnati in like the late 1800s, early 1900s. I think it was the 1900s. But what they do is they invite a group of people with ethnological differences. In our case, it was one of those Wild West shows.
Creek Indians.
Yeah.
Indians, yeah.
This was the Cree Indians. Thank you, Aaron. And one of those Wild West shows went bankrupt right here while they were in Cincinnati. They weren't able to do their show, rain, whatever. It was a weather situation, but they went bankrupt. And they just left the Native Americans. Then they had a whole tribe almost of Native Americans who, Cree and other, but mostly Cree. And they didn't have anywhere to go. They were stuck here. They couldn't get home. They couldn't go to another show. So they were bankrupt. They were hungry. They had animals to deal with. So what this happened was a gentleman from the Cincinnati Zoo said, hey, how about you come over here, do your tribe thing, do some dances. We'll pay you. And voila, they had a human zoo exhibit. Now, they made enough money to get themselves home in style. They were able to take trains. They were able to feed themselves, their animals. They really had what they needed from this. They made decent money. So is it appropriation?
Yes, by definition.
But who's the one? If they're benefiting from it.
So this was going to be like a docu-series we've been kicking around for like 3 years now.
Okay. Yeah. I just wanted Dean's.
But it's a very sensitive topic that we have to really be careful with how we script
we
out.
want to be. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's interesting.
Right.
Okay.
My take on it is it's very similar to me to the argument that about banning sex work. There are people that wants to ban sex work because they see it as demeaning to the women involved. Mm-hmm. But as a guy who rolled around this country for 20 years, and unfortunately had to go to a lot of strip clubs, mostly because I was the feature, so I was the one in the head. I was stripping at that point in my life, so all I would ever do is compare notes, because some of my moves were stolen from female strippers anyway. So I just wanted to talk to them. But I just wanted to talk to them.
Proof,
I had
sexy.
Yeah.
Bringing me to a strip club is like taking me, not buying me any food. It's just, it's stupid to me.
Yeah.
You can't get what you want there. It's not that.
It's always seemed pointless to me too.
Yeah.
Right.
So so ladies, and then the headliners would get upset that they're talking to me and try to force themselves in. And one headliner got in a lot of trouble doing it because he upset them, and they're like, "Oh no, we're going to take him out," and blah blah blah. Well, later, a convenience store. So, but anyway, like there is this thought is inherently demeaning, and I argue that maybe it is, but I do know they think it's just a way to make money, and they're glad to have the opportunity and proud to. Is it fair to tell that person they can't do that? So this seems like the same kind. Would it do? Does it make me feel comfortable? Would I go see that show? Absolutely not.
Right.
Should I be able to say you do that?
Yeah.
Well, certainly there are degrees of what we're talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout history.
Yeah.
I mean, there were more nefarious instances of this, but the example that Lisa brought up of the Cree Indian that came through Cincinnati, on first glimpse, it looks terrible. It looks absolutely terrible, and something like
horrified,
like a black eye on our city or legacy. Like a really bad thing, and it's never ideal to put someone on display like that, but there were benefits that they realized out of it, and they were able to get back to their homes eventually. They were able to get by a little bit.
And it was only was it one summer or two that they did it?
Well, they had the Cree Indians one summer, and then a couple summers later they brought in another tribe, and I don't remember.
And actually the other tribe came to the zoo and said, "Hey, we want in on this," and they were a Kentucky tribe.
But if we ever do our docuseries, we're going to completely vet this shit out and show examples from history and lead up to it. And it's like
we're going to get as much information as we can. It's just doing the homework.
And we have some,
and that's a lot of homework.
We have some American Indian friends that we're going to talk to about it and be appropriate about it.
Unfortunately, one of them moved to Paris.
Right. Well, I mean, and there's an individual podcaster, a Cree Indian podcaster that I wanted to reach out to and possibly get an interview with him and see if he even knows about it, that type of thing. So that's like an ambitious thing that I'd like to do with podcasting. I'd like, I love talking to people on spontaneously, kind of like free flowing conversation. But I would like to do something, a documentary style or something like that.
Now, unfortunately, right now, he's got a full-time job and a part-time job.
Right. I don't have enough time.
And that's when we're not doing household maintenance, like filling in a big pothole. So.
Anyway.
And I can only help so much.
That's our project. What about your projects?
Yeah.
Pickman's movie.
Yeah. We
Pickman's
we read
movie was the start. Pickman's movie is where Demons Rest, where Bell was born. The Hollowverse is born.
So this is the whole universe. Okay.
Yeah, I do a lot of writing in that space. But and there's characters that you haven't met. There's a Calamity Ray Ray Truman, who is my Ahab that'll turn up later in that series, and there's this beast in Kansas called the Silas Wretch that is tied into them. But yeah, it's all just stuff that I guess it's my little bit that I've welded onto the cosmic horror tree. It was started by H.P. Lovecraft, who was a horrible racist and not a very nice person. But he wrote the Cthulhu mythos, and a lot of our authors have planted their flags there, and that's where I started when I went back to writing, because I hadn't written stories. When I was in high school, I realized that most writers don't make anything. And so then I decided I would do something that I could make something. And then I found out I was neurodivergent, and nobody really liked me. Not me some days. So yeah, it took a while. And by the time in a place where I could focus and figure out who I wanted to be, I was like, you know what? I've always been funny. I'm going to go try to do stand-up. And you write a ton as a stand-up comic because, well, those jokes just don't appear naturally on stage. You've got to write those and work them out at open mic nights and cut out words and try them again. And you got to give every joke 3 tries. And if it doesn't get a laugh in any of those 3 tries, you got to pull that joke and rework. So there's a lot of writing and
timing, that type of stuff.
Timing is something that you don't develop. It's just there, in my opinion.
Well,
I mean, what do you think, Dean?
let's ask a comedian.
Sorry.
Writing is something that you either have a love for, got out of stand-up, which is inherently a life. Like bands can tour a little longer, but you've got built-in friends, you got built-in relationships. Comics usually travel by ourselves, and you roll into town and you think, I'd like to check this out, or I'd like to check that out. But I've just driven 10 hours across Montana. I'm going to my room and I'm not leaving until it's showtime. And then the next morning you're off to the town. So it's not really conducive to unless you're a single comic. And then it is more conducive to that, but that's never been me. I mean, hey, I had my naughty times as much as any guy, but when I was doing stand-up, I was raising kids long distance. I had relationships. So I wasn't trying to roll into town and get laid. That wasn't my thing. And besides, one part of is I don't notice when I'm being hit on anyway. I was at a show. I was selling merch afterwards. I used to have these t-shirts that said, "You want this, don't you?" On the belly. And I was selling those. This woman came up to buy them, and she was just like, guys like you, guys who are fun, big guys like you. And I'm like, well, that's great that you love it, blah, blah. She took her shirt and we left. And the other man, she wants you. No, she doesn't. Not at all. I don't see that at all. Dude, she said she likes big, funny guys like you. That is her way of. You could ask her out and she would say yes. I didn't.
And probably take you home and not expect to see you again.
But I
sometimes women are on the prowl.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
I've actually seen women hit on, and I really believe he's not diagnosed or anything, but I believe Philip is thoroughly neurodivergent. And one of the reasons behind that is I have seen women hit on him. I have sat there watching women hit on him, and he has no clue. None whatsoever. No game.
well, why would I be interested? I'm happily married. What are
Honey,
you talking about?
I know, and I appreciate that. But even if he wasn't happily married, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't be getting strange.
Well, I was always hanging around Aaron, and Aaron was like the chick magnet, so I had
Right.
low self-esteem. Aaron was always getting the chicks.
Yeah.
So
I wasn't getting chicks.
The impression was there.
So those were all tall tales you were telling me then, Aaron?
In high school, I wasn't.
Well, we can go back on. We'll do another
That's beside
episode.
Maybe one.
Yeah, we'll wind down
Yeah.
the memory road there sometime. But isn't there like a competitive factor for comedians when you're on the road too? I mean, it's like you don't want your material to get lifted. You don't want to get up. You kind of want to win the night, maybe get the biggest reactions out of the crowd. I mean, or was your neurodivergence so that you didn't really have that
A
type
team.
of ambition about
Right.
it?
No, it's here's the thing. Stories of hundreds of thousands of comics who did their best and are off stage and successfully did it only to lose their job because at the end of the day, the money on the headliner. So when the headliner says this guy's an ass or whatever he says, but it's usually something along those lines. It's not the headliner who gets fired. It's the feature act. It's the middler of him that he doesn't like. So
it's supposed to be in support of the headliner, right?
Yeah. So unless is going, you got to fire the headliner. That guy just tanks every night. It does happen, but it's a lot rarer. It's that they're going to back the headline. Really funny middle acts that got bounced because the headliner's like, this guy is blowing me away.
Yeah.
And you'll find with certain headliners that they'll find a feature who can't blow them off stage. They will take a round. So you'll go to see, and one of the big in my day was a guy named Larry, the Cable Guy. I apologize, not trying to promote him in any way, but he brought this guy around that was just like awful. Oh, never got a laugh that I ever saw, but he didn't threaten Larry's laughs.
So he loved that guy. He like put that guy on everything.
Yeah, well,
bored the living shit out of the audience that I can come work them. That's crazy. I was thinking about that when I went to see Weird Al. Lisa and I went and saw Weird Al. It's been about a week and a half ago, and it was a great show. Second time we've seen him. Anytime you get a chance to see Weird Al,
we're gonna go.
You got to go.
Yeah.
But anyway, Puddles the Clown opened for him, and I'm sitting there going, I want to get home. I want to get home. I don't give a shit about.
It was
Puddles.
A weeknight.
This guy's coming out. He's
a
clown. He's a clown. I've seen a million clowns. And it's like
he
doesn't have a band back of him or anything like that. I'm like, this is going. I really want to see Al. Let's get Al out here, right? But it turns out he actually has put on a really good show. Puddles Pity Party. He's actually a fantastic singer, and it was
absolutely.
He put on a great show.
Yeah.
To his credit. But that's interesting what you're talking about, that the headliner would intentionally plant a stiff in order to work up the audience for his performance.
But I feel like having someone who can bring the energy of the audience up, which you don't expect Puddle's Pity Party to bring up the energy, but he actually did.
He did, and then he interacted with Al.
This man is obviously like a trained opera singer. He could do anything, and he's just this 6'4" clown who he dresses like a clown for whatever reason, and and he even came out during Al's performance. There was a bit where he came out and kind of like they did one of those, I'm better than my brother kind of thing.
It was a duet.
Yeah.
It was an ambiguously gay duet.
It was I wouldn't say it was ambiguously gay, but
they kissed at the end.
Oh yeah. So, he kissed him.
Anyway.
So that's just kind of I feel like having someone come and like lift the energy of the crowd so that when you come out, they're already
Well, I guess there's two different philosophies.
Makes more sense to me than having someone.
Well, having someone actively trying to blow you off the stage is one thing, and having somebody lifting the crowd
exactly.
is another.
And that's where you have to get that balance. You don't want necessarily someone who's going to be like, "Why are we here?"
Remember when Eddie Murphy said, "I want to be the Beatles of comedy"? How bold was that? That was throwing down a.
That was throwing down a gauntlet. That's right up there with certain people comparing the Beatles to Jesus.
Well, that don't happen.
Him disappearing from stand-up was such a weird thing.
Who?
Eddie Murphy.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I feel like his actor.
He went into movies.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy didn't disappear from stand-up. He just went into movies.
Right.
Right, but he stopped doing stand-up and actively wouldn't for years.
And I think he did go
because he given his act to his brother,
which was
Makes sense.
Which
I
was
forgot
no
about Charlie.
competition.
Rest in peace.
I felt like he got too arrogant. You know, the red jumpsuit, the boasting.
drugs.
That was his
I don't
peak.
like that shit. I don't
Yeah.
I don't like Andrew Dice Clay. I don't like, you know, comedy should be self-deprecating. I don't like arrogance. I don't like
You don't like braggadocious
No.
comedians?
that's not funny. That's not funny. It's not funny to see Carrot Top come out looking like you know, all buffed out and shit. You know, it's like fuck that shit. Anyway,
Steroid Top. We'll just start
it's
calling
all-
him Steroid Top.
That's the problem with, you write it initially when you're just a schmo, when you're, you know, living the same life every comics who suddenly get famous, they are suddenly elevated above that. And so while they may find funny in their new situation, and a lot of comics will struggle with this, they can no
It's not
longer connect with
relatable.
the crowd because the crowd does not know that elevation.
yeah.
They're still that guy from underneath.
Also,
like,
Can afford to buy
someone
dozen
who-
eggs. Mhm.
Yeah, now someone who is capable of like remembering that and holding on to that is an amazing comic. Kevin Hart is able to do it, and I don't love Kevin Hart. His style is not mine, but he's such a good guy. I know so many people in the industry who are his friends that he has taken doing well. So
Yeah.
well, that's cool.
He's like universally beloved.
yeah, he's a good guy.
Well, yeah, it can't be. It
I
can't be
like
the comedy. It can't be the comedy.
I think
but,
Chappelle does a good job of that.
but Hart, that's cool. I'm glad to hear that. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of his comedy.
Yeah, no,
Um,
no.
His comedy doesn't do it, but it doesn't matter. Sinbad is another one who's amazing and still stand up in like he can connect with the crowd. Yeah, he's been right that high for a while, but he can still go and do a crowd and then but the people who don't who have lost that connection, it's hard for them. It really is.
Yeah.
And they're in this
I think
place
Seinfeld hit that a little bit, huh?
Yeah.
Seinfeld,
So-
yeah.
where it happened to Sam
Yeah.
Kinison for a minute.
It did for a brief time.
Rob Schneider's kind of a shitbag.
Yeah, but he was never big.
No, not like
But
some of the others.
Let's talk about the shitbags. No, I'm just kidding.
But like Seinfeld, his comedy was less everyman once he was a billionaire. That his observations were less
Right.
relatable. I think he's
I
kind
never
of pulled it
found
back.
him to be funny, personally.
Whatever happened to the other
I did.
sock?
Yeah.
Where's
I
the
mean,
other sock?
sometimes there'd be something I'd laugh at, but overall, I would be like,
Well, it turns out he was doing Larry David's bit, where Larry David was actually funnier than
right,
Seinfeld,
right.
right?
Even though I dislike Larry David and his show,
Well, I love.
I find
Larry
him
David.
very annoying.
He is arrogant, though.
Yeah.
That kind of contradicts what I said.
I love Larry David.
Anyway,
I'm sorry. What was that, Aaron?
I
Yeah, I
love
do
Larry
too.
Yeah,
David.
I know
I
you
can't
do.
help myself.
And that may just be me, or it may be women. I don't know. But let's get.
I think it's probably the cringe humor that turns you
Yeah,
off.
could be.
That's my wife can only take so much of that, and then she's like, okay, I
Well,
gotta.
by the end of
Yeah.
his 20-year run or whatever, he was it was getting, it was time to go.
Yeah,
The last couple seasons.
we're a little less. But that's a situation where it becomes harder and harder to come up with scenarios once you've done them.
In those 20 years, he only had like 12 seasons too. He would take long periods off.
Right.
You wouldn't know if he's coming back, and then he'd write a season. Something would inspire him.
Right. Okay, well, let's get back to Pickman's movie. That was I really found it good. I like.
It's a short story, so it's easy to spoil.
Well, what is it? And then I'm just going to say characters. You did a good job of describing the characters, the atmosphere, with very simple things. Like for instance, everyone in town knowing who he was. That was a great way of creating a creepy atmosphere without saying it in so many words.
Right.
That actually comes from my experiences in a one town in Kansas called Hiawatha, Kansas. And for a while they had a hotel there, and for a restaurant and bar. And that place contacted me to provide. So for a while, I provided my comics for this bar in Hiawatha, Kansas. And like Hiawatha, Kansas is a very small town. There's not many people in it. And so the comics that I would book, and of course I booked myself the first weekend, because
why not?
That's what you do. I always felt like I can't tell other comics what to expect if I haven't worked the room. So I would book myself as a middle and just get a feel for the room so I could say, oh, it's really tight, or oh, it's really no, or whatever that my report on the crowd is, so that the comics can come in and go, okay, I'm going to have to work this kind of soft at first, but they'll just go full big guns from the so yeah, like, and it's one of those towns that got comedy, so we never small crowd. A lot of times they'll just space themselves out. They don't want to be near each other or you. And comedy is harder to do if you have that gulf between you top of you, if you can get it. So, but this town, like, when they all wanted to be as close as they get, and that means you're going to have a good show, and you don't have that gulf to breach, so they are just ready for jokes. And so first, and then the rest of the year that I booked it, I was just the MC, and even then I would just get the crowd ready. Are you ready for your first comic of the evening? He's your middle act, blah blah blah, however that happened. Anyway, but these people talk to one another all week about the next comic. So, like, comics would go walking around town for their jokes, and half the people in town knew them, and they're like, "Oh, you're the comic. You're going to be at the..." And so, I mean, that's the place I remember, but it's not the only place that happened. So yeah,
there's kind of a sense of, well, in the story, it seemed like there was a sense of provincialism, a little bit. That was kind of the ominous overtone.
And it is meant to be provincial in the story. Yes, but it is based on a very true experience of, in some small towns, something going on, everybody knows about it. And
right.
I just wanted to heighten that for that story.
I kind of experienced something like that. I mean, just very like a one-line situation. I went to the store after work, and I didn't take my badge off. So I was still wearing my badge. And I go up to the cash register, and the guy says, "Is there anything else I can help you with, Lisa?" And I'm like,
yeah.
"How'd you know my name?"
Right.
And he goes, "You're wearing a badge with your name on it?" And I'm like, "Oh." But it was like, okay, do I know you?
Well, they did a good job of that on the Andy Griffith Show. There was an episode where this guy comes to town, and he knows everybody in town. He knows Barney. Yeah. He knows, the sheriff. He knows Aunt B. He knows what Opie's been his grades are. And it's like he's been following. He's been following this kid in the local paper. He was subscribed to the local paper from out of town. But they did a good job of capturing.
He was a veteran. Yeah. And when he was in the Army with somebody from Mayberry who got the paper, and that person didn't come home, but he continued taking the guy's paper. and he fell in love with Mayberry. And when he tried to move there,
They treat him like a leper.
because it creeped him out that he knew so much about them already.
Right, and the Lottery by Shirley Jackson captures that whole provincialism as well.
Right.
But you were heavily influenced by Lovecraft, right, Dean? And you're right.
Oh yeah, very, very much so. I like cosmic horror quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm not that familiar. I was looking.
Fear of the Outsider is pretty common human experience.
Like Reanimator. I don't know a lot of Lovecraft. I know Color Out of Time because we happened to do an episode on it. But I could definitely see what, your influence there in reading this. The dreamlike, nightmarish situation that Dr. Lloyd found himself in.
That quality of the setting the atmosphere. I mean, you did such a good job of that.
Having his dreams coming true and preserved on film was interesting.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole thing too, and creepy.
Yeah. Now, Aaron, did you get a chance to read The Cat is Wise?
No, I didn't have access to that.
I think that was my fault. I think I neglected to forward that too. But that was good also. It's from the point of view of the cat.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, it's fully from the point of view of the cat.
I'll send it to you, Aaron.
And it was good. I would like a little more ending on that personally, just a little.
Make one up.
Oh, I have. There's like 4 or 5 of them in my head.
Pick one.
Yeah.
But we should say the book.
Okay.
That is a very short story.
Yeah, it is a very short story. We'll come back. I've got other stories in my head for him.
Okay. Well, the only thing is the way it ends. It says that basically the human didn't listen to me, so I fulfilled my catly duties, and that's kind of, I didn't want to give away the end there. Spoiler, but that's the last thing that you hear from the cat, and I was just like, are we missing a page?
No,
it's only like 8 pages long.
Sounds like the end.
But I mean, as a girl, I want to know: does the human survive?
Well, yeah.
In
the
spite
whole
of
end
the
of the
danger.
story is the cat is able to convince the guy by a fairly novel means to move across the road.
Okay, now I didn't get that from the story, so we may be missing a page.
So yeah, the cat saved its person. It's just the way it chose to go about doing it. But at the same time, it's heavily based on my experiences with the cats I've owned. So that cat voice, is the voice of several cats I've had in my head, like this. But I will pick up my animals and just talk to them and. I do that with him all the time, but I will often type. And when I talk to animals, especially if it's cat, it's like, but I will put up with you. Give me chicken.
I find myself telling them to get out of my seat most of the time. But
I do. I talk to them. I mean, I'm here alone all day with the cats. So I have whole conversations made up in my head, I'm sure. With the cat, and I do like a little cat voice, and sometimes I do baby talk, but other times I just talk to them, like we're having a real conversation.
Well, I love the cat, but it's like I go out and work hard all day long. I come home and he's sitting in my seat. He's been laying in my seat all day long. Then I get up, get something to drink, and he's already back in my seat. And I got to tell him to get out again.
Lazy, no good.
Yeah,
no good.
So,
I think it's his seat, man. He spends more time in it.
Okay, so.
If I don't think Philip would have pets, or he might have a dog, but he's more of a dog person than a cat person. I like both for different reasons.
I'd like to.
Growing up, he always had cats.
I did.
Yeah.
But I think.
But they had to be outdoors because of his mom's allergies. His mom, his mom both had.
I say I'd like to have a dog, but we had the most wonderful, beautiful dog, and I don't know if we could ever get another dog like that.
We can. I mean,
we've
not
tried,
like
but
that.
I don't know.
Well, I feel I have to wonder if when we went to get dogs, you maybe sabotaged it because you were afraid that we would never get another like Lacey, which we probably won't. But I want to open our home to senior dogs that don't have anywhere to go. You know, like maybe the person that
And that would be
maybe
tough.
their person passed away and they ended up being surrendered by the family. That kind of thing. I would like to even do maybe foster situations. I feel like we could do that.
I know people who foster both dogs, and if you're cool with it, it can be an amazing situation. I used to be scared of pit bulls, just terrified of them, until a friend of mine who fostered like 3 or 4 of them, and they were just some of the most loving animals. And then years later, I got a pitty, and she was just wonderful. My daughter, who's 18, going to Northwest Missouri State University, she could do anything to Nina that she wanted. She used to put hats on her and sunglasses on her, and Nina just did. And then towards the end of Nina's life, Nina just had this very sad look, and she'd give it to me, and I'd wind up like picking her up and putting her on a bed. And mind you, she's a sizable dog, and like, but I would spoil this dog. She was just a wonderful, loving, like I said. So I know people who foster cats. I know people who foster dogs. I don't know anybody who's had a bad experience doing it.
All right, so we've left ourselves with not enough time to do the. Let's just clear this up. Are we going to do the Elite 8 or not?
I will say, prepare for short lifespans if you're going to be fostering seniors.
That's my problem with
right, and I think that's where he hesitates.
I had a tough time with Lacey.
Falling in love with an animal and then having to let it go.
Yeah, right.
But
we had
oh, sorry, Aaron, go ahead.
A Saint Bernard that had cancer. It had tumors on it and stuff, and Liam really bonded with it, but he only lasted about 6 months, and then Liam was crushed.
Yeah. That would be tough for me. And here's the other thing. That would be another thing on my plate, because I would have to walk it. I would have to. I mean, not to complain, now but I really don't have room for anything else on my plate. All right, so are we doing the Elite 8? I don't know if we have enough time at this point.
Be good exercise for you to walk a dog every day.
Let me tell the Missy story, and we won't do the Elite 8, or we could do the Elite 8. We could stop the recording and then do it.
I think we've had a great podcast here. We don't need to do the Elite 8 because we filled up our time.
What is it? When I was a baby, I mean, literally not even a year old, I was actually babysat by a pitty. Her name was Missy. She was the best dog on the planet. And they would put me and my cousin out in the front yard, and he was a little older than me, maybe like close to 2. And she knew the border of the yard, and if we tried to get out of the yard, she would herd us back in. And one of my favorite games was to run to get out of the yard, so that Missy would come and grab my diaper and pull me back into the yard. Loved that game. Did it over and over again, and she never tired of doing it. And the only time she got a little, more vigilant was when she had puppies, and that was because she had more charges to deal with. But yeah, we were just basically one of her puppies, and she would discipline us just like the puppies.
Is that the one that jumped through the screen door because it saw
No,
something
that was my aunt's dog.
Oh, okay.
My aunt had a Rottweiler that, and my dad, at the time that she had the Rottweiler, my dad, who was a mailman, was coming down to visit her a lot on the weekends because he had a girlfriend in Louisville. And so the Rottweiler, whose name I can't remember right now, I think it was like Sandy or Sherry. Let's just say Sandy. So Sandy would stand in the screen door waiting for my dad. And because of that, their regular mailman got to be friends with her. And so he would stop. He would even half the time he'd give her a treat. He would at least pet her and say hello. He'd open the screen door, that kind of thing. Well, they had a substitute mailman. And this is how we found out that Sandy really, really, really loved the taste of pepper spray. Because when the mailman didn't say hi to her, pet her, give her a treat, she went through the screen door because she thought maybe he just forgot me. And this is a 125-pound dog. It actually weighed more than my aunt. And so the dog broke through the screen door and is chasing this man. And he climbs a tree. And my aunt comes home, fortunately not too long after this event, and finds him pepper spraying the dog. And the dog is going, man, this is a good treat. So I mean, I just thought that's one of the funniest stories ever.
Look how Otto's loving your
Yeah.
story. He's just sitting there. He's like fireside chat. He's just
Yeah.
loving that shit.
And then this is the same dog that was absolutely terrified for whatever reason of the dishwasher. So whenever my aunt would run the dishwasher, she would find the dog half under the bed hiding because it couldn't get all the way under the bed because it was too big.
All right.
So,
Well, we only got a minute or two left. We got a hard
Okay.
stop at an
Yeah,
hour.
about 90 seconds. So where can we find Family Plot and Dean?
As for me, if you go on Amazon and look for our Dean Bose, you'll find Pickman's movie. It will be joined fairly shortly by Matt. It will be a book-length collection of short stories that will encompass as much as I will have written by then.
Cool.
But for now, it's still just Pickman's movie. And any social as Family Plot Podcast, you'll find us.
All right.
And
okay.
Boese, Dean Bose.
Yes, and if you can rearrange the letters and spell obese, which I am, you've spelled it right.
Not my favorite word in the thesaurus.
Well, it was a quick hour. We knew it would be. Really enjoy your friendship and joining you on some of the other podcasts we've done, and hopefully we'll continue to do together. And we will be checking out Family Plot.
People.
Yeah.
And if we ever
You're
actually get
cool
around to
people. You're
doing our
cool.
ethnological series, we'd love to have you on as a visiting,
As a fellow.
As an exhibit.
As an exhibit.
As a
Yeah.
human
We'll have
exhibit.
You
our
can
own.
be our exhibit.
We'll have our own human exhibit.
We'll have stripping comedian exhibit
All right. Have a good day, Dean.
with a writer's nook. Great to see you, Dean. Thanks for coming on.
Great to see all of you. Love you all.
All right.
Love you too. What's our next